Now in this sections, we're going to configure VLAN. So at first we're going to build our topology. So I'll go to switch. I'll pick up 12960 switch in here. And I'm going to pick up few PCs. This is PC 0, PC 1, PC 2. Three PCs, okay? And we're going to use another layer 3 switch in this lab. So I'll go to my switch. I'll pick up one of the switch called 3560, this one. So I'll drag and put in here. So in this lab, we're going to configure VLAN. We're going to configure later on Inter VLAN routing, and also we're going to configure VLAN trunk. So these things we're going to configure in here. Now I'll connect this PC with my switch, this PC with this switch, this PC with this switch. And after that, this switch with this switch. So this is our network topology, and what we're going to configure. And we're going to configure VLAN, VLAN 10, name sales VLAN, and our subnet 192.168.10.0/24. So this subnet we're going to use for our VLAN 10, this side. And other side, we're going to configure VLAN 20, name marketing, and IP address range 192.168.20.0/24. So this is the planning phase. So these two devices we're going to put under VLAN 20. Let's say these two devices. And this device we put under VLAN. These two devices under VLAN 10, and this device is under VLAN 20. And we need to assign the IP address informations. So we're going to configure IP address for this one. It will be 192.168.10.1 and /24. That means /24 mask. We're going to configure for this PC. I'll just put here. For this one, for this PC, we're going to put 192.168.10.2/24. For this PC, we put 192.168.20.1/24. Okay, we just put here. Now, this two PC will be part of VLAN 10. This one will be part of VLAN 20. And this is our access layer switch. I'll just write down here, access layer switch. And this is our distribution layer switch. Now, first thing, we're going to configure the IP address for the PC. So I'll go to this PC, desktop, IP configurations. We do 192.168.10.1 and mask 192.168.10.2 and mask 192.168.20.1 and mask. So IP address assignment done. Now next thing, we get to configure VLAN. So I'll go to this switch, CLI, then put down, enable, config T, right? We go to configuration mode and we create VLAN. We say VLAN 10, name cells. Exit, VLAN 20, name marketing. That's how we create VLAN, and then we have the name for this VLAN. Now, after that, we need to assign this particular interface to the correct VLAN. So I'll type end. If I type end, I'll go back to all the way to my enable mode. And we can apply the command to check the VLAN status. So you can say show VLAN brief and hit enter. We can see that we have a default VLAN, which is VLAN 1, and all the interface belongs to VLAN 1 by default. But now we configure our new VLAN, which is VLAN 10, but we do not have any interface in here. And then we have VLAN 20, and we do not have any interface in here. They are just a VLAN, but there's no interface allocated yet. So now we're going to allocate some interface to those VLAN. So let's have a look how to do that. I'll click on my switch again. I'm going to take the interface, say config T. I'm in configuration mode. At first, I'm going to take this interface, say interface FA0/1, and say switch port access VLAN 10. This is the command. We can take interface and say switch port access VLAN 10. In this way, we can put one interface in a VLAN. So I can go to interface FA0/2 and then say switch port access VLAN 10. Because this interface and this interface should be belongs to VLAN 10. And 03, it should be belongs to VLAN 20. So we say interface VLAN 3 and say switch port access VLAN 20. Right? So that's how we allocate interfaces inside the VLAN. Now we can verify as well. We can end from here, say show VLAN brief. Now look at that. We can see that this VLAN has now a couple of interfaces, and this VLAN has those interfaces. Now, they are in same broadcast domain. These two devices, they are part of this broadcast domain. This device part of this broadcast domain. Now, if I go to this PC, this one, and go to command prompt and ping 192.168.10.2. 10.2 means I would like to communicate with that one and hit enter. See, I can ping because we're in same subnet and belongs to same VLAN. So that is the main idea. Once you have VLAN, they'll be able to communicate with each other. But if it is a different VLAN, it will not work. If I try to ping 192.168.20.1, it will not work because this is in different VLAN. Even though they are all connected to the same switch, but we actually separate them by configuring this VLAN. So sales VLAN has their own broadcast domain, and marketing VLAN, they have their own broadcast domain. Now, what if these people, they want to communicate with them, this department? Let's say these people, they want to communicate with that. Communication doesn't mean that they'll need to be part of the same broadcast domain. So if these people, they want to communicate with that people, we can configure the routing. Routing means these people will go to this layer 3 switch, and we can configure the Inter VLAN routing. And in this way, we can send the packets to that particular VLAN. And once you configure the Inter VLAN routing, then these people, they'll be able to communicate with VLAN 20 people. Now, in order to configure Inter VLAN routing, this layer 3 switch, we need to have same VLAN, same as like this particular VLAN. So now if we go to CLI, this is our layer 3 switch. See, it's asking, would you like to enter the initial configurations dialog? We'll say no and hit enter. Now, after that, we say enable. This is our layer 3 switch. Now, in this switch, we need to configure the same VLAN. So VLAN need to exist in here. Now, this switch, we need to configure. So just have a name for this one. We say host name, this is distribution layer, DLS. DLS means distribution layer switch. Now we can configure those two VLAN because VLAN need to exist in here as well. We say VLAN 10 name sales. Exit VLAN 20 name marketing. After that, we'd like to establish the communications from this PC to all the way to our switch, this particular layer 3 switch. So if we'd like to communicate, we need IP address. So we have one options. When you have VLAN, we can actually assign the IP address in the VLAN. So I'll exit from here and say interface VLAN 10. Same like we configured previously. This is the VLAN interface. We can say IP address 192.168.10.10. So 10.10 we configuring for this VLAN 10 and say 255.255.255.0. For VLAN 10, we have the IP address. Same way, we're going to configure VLAN 20 and we're going to assign IP address, say 192.168.20.10. This is for VLAN 20. No shutdown is not required in this case because we can already see that VLAN is already up. Now, we have IP address inside our VLAN. For the VLAN 10, we have IP. For the VLAN 20, we have IP. But now we'd like to communicate with that IP. We'd like to ping from my PC to that particular VLAN. So if you'd like to ping, then this switch need to communicate with other switch, and this switch has a VLAN and this switch has a VLAN. So those VLAN, they need to understand each other. And for that reason, we need to configure trunk. And this interface, you need to configure trunk. Once you configure trunk, then this PC will be able to ping that particular IP. We can test as well if we go here and say ping 192.168.10.10. This is for our VLAN 10 IP in here, but it's not communicating because this switch do not know the VLAN ID informations over there. So you need to configure trunk. So let's have a look how to configure trunk. I'll go to this switch, layer 3 switch, and exit. We want to configure trunk in this interface. We say interface FA0/1, switch port, mode, trunk. It's saying its command is rejected because this is a layer 3 switch. We need to enable the encapsulations.1q, that protocol. If we do not enable the protocol, layer 3 switch will not be able to configure the trunk. So we say switch port encapsulation, switch port trunk encapsulations.1q. This is the protocol we need to configure. After that, say switch port mode trunk. Now trunk is working, is all up. Now same thing, we go to our switch, this layer 2 switch, which is access layer switch. We're going to configure trunk in this port. Config T interface FA0/4 switch port mode trunk. So now this port we have the trunk. So both of the port we have the trunk. And as you can see, they're kind of like negotiating, is not ready yet. But if you wait a couple of minutes, these things will turn to green. And layer, you may notice that layer 2 switch, we do not need to configure the trunking protocol because layer 2 switch by default, this trunking protocol is enabled. If it is layer 3 switch, we need to configure the trunking protocol over there. Now exit from here, exit again. I want to see the trunk informations. Show interfaces trunk. This is the command. Look at that. This interface is trunk port, this one. And look at that, this port is up as well by the time. This protocol is enabled, status is trunking, VLAN allowed, all the VLAN 1, 10, 20, all the VLAN will be communicate from this interface to outside. If I go to layer 3 switch, I do the same thing, show interfaces trunk. See, it has trunk port. This trunk they are allowed. So in this way, we can configure the trunk. Now, once we configure the trunk, now let's try to ping from this PC to all the way to that VLAN IP address. I'll go to command prompt, ping. Look at that, now it's pinging. So that means I can ping all the way to my VLAN ID over there. It's working. And if I would like to ping the other IP, 192.168.20.1, so it's not working because this is in still different subnet. We need to enable the routing from layer 3 switch. So how to enable routing from layer 3 switch? Let's go to our layer 3 switch and say config T and only one line command that is called IP routing. This command will enable the routing. That means now VLAN 10 will be able to communicate with VLAN 20. Now, one more thing need to be done. If I do show run, then we can see details about our interface. So this is fast Ethernet 01. This is a trunk port. And if you go down, look at that. This is our VLAN 10, and this is the IP address. This is our VLAN 20. This is the IP address. Right? Now, if I'd like to ping back from this layer 3 switch to all the way to my PC 10.1, I can ping 10.2. I should be able to ping 10.2 as well. Yeah. Then 20.1, I should be able to ping as well. All of them I can ping from here. So from this PC, now we'd like to ping other PC. But one more thing we need to configure in here, that is the default gateway. What is a default gateway? Because let's say your PC can go over there, but after that, it doesn't know where to go. We need to put a default gateway. So default gateway will help this PC to communicate with the other side. So you can say 192.168.10.10. Close this one. I'll go to this PC. Default gateway will be 10.10. And for this PC, default gateway will be 20.10. So for this PC, they will have default gateway from their respected VLAN, right? So for this PC, default gateway will be 20.10. So this layer 3 switch is working as like a router. So you need to have IP address from your related VLAN. So default gateway is important. Default gateway is kind of your router IP. So for this one, default gateway will be its router or layer 3 switch IP address, which is 20.10. Now from this PC, if I try to ping this PC, it should work. Ping 192.168.20.1. Look at that, now it's working. Okay, so now this PC can communicate with this PC. They're in different VLAN, but we configured Inter VLAN routing in here. That's why this switch can actually do the routing. This switch take the packets from this subnet and send the packet to that subnet. And this is called Inter VLAN routing.